Today we're going to talk about confident body language, how to stand confidently, how to walk confidently, and how to have conversations in a specific body language structure. So I'm going to share with you a study that Seattle PD did. So we're going to start with that and the impact that body language has on us. And then we're going to share just those three things: standing, walking, and conversationally, how to have a strong, confident body language that our person or our observers can view us as somebody not to be messed with, right? But still feminine. And then finally, before I let you go, I will share one tip on what you can do if you are conversing with a stranger as opposed to somebody you are familiar with. What tweaks can be made in that scenario? And then we'll just get started. In this channel, we give you self-defense tips and empowerment tips for women to feel safe and confident in all areas of their lives. So if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe and get your free personalized training in the link below. So Seattle PD did this study with a psychologist with their inmates. So all the people who were in prison, the men who were in prison for assaulting women, about 100 or 150 of those were put through a study. They were each individually made to watch a video. It was the exact same video. They watched it alone and didn't communicate with each other. And this video had women, just a whole bunch of different women, different race, different body types, walking through the street. And these men, these prisoners or inmates, were asked to pick women that they would pick for assaulting, because that's what they were in prison for. That's what they did. They picked women off of the street. Scary thing. And they assessed, they analyzed, they tallied the numbers at the end, and they found out it's not women who are short or tall or skinny or pretty or color or race. None of that made a difference. They made sure they categorize that or account for that. But they found out that 75% of the time, the same women got picked over and over. That certain women had 75% pick rate. And the real difference was just body language, right? Those who were kind of crouched or looking down, right, looked like victims. And they were like, oh yeah, easy to pick. But those who stood up straight and walked and just looked alert, looked around, things like that, they were too alert to be picked. So that is something that tells us that this plays a huge role in self-defense. How we walk, how we stand, commuting to work, to and from work, late at night, standing at a bus stop with our co-workers, all of that makes a huge difference. So let's just dive right in and talk about what those pieces are. Okay, so let's talk about standing. Standing, how are we gonna stand effectively? This could be at a bus stop, right? You're sitting at a bus stop, you're commuting to work. This could be in a meeting. Maybe there isn't enough space to sit, so you're standing at work. So think about what all places you stand, okay? And how we show up, how we represent ourselves makes a big difference. So this is pretty simple. We wanna stand tall, right? Not like a slouch. And it's really easy to slouch. So when I started doing this, it was really hard for me to know, am I slouching or am I not? People used to tell me stop slouching. And I was like, oh, I'm slouching? I didn't know. So the great thing to keep in mind here is every time you kind of remember, that's what I did. Every time I'd remember, hey, I shouldn't slouch. I don't know if I'm slouching or not. I rolled my shoulders back and set it down. Up, back, down. That's it. And I felt, and you'd feel as too, a slight tension on the back of our shoulder blades. You feel like it's an elastic band tied together. So just a slight tension. Another way that works for some people better than this is imagining there's a string on top of our head and that's pulling us to the sky. Okay, now I exaggerated my length, but if here, I would just suddenly imagine that's pulling me to the sky. So it's not about pushing our shoulders back. It's not that exaggerated. It will feel exaggerated, but it doesn't look exaggerated, right? So either roll shoulders back or feel like that string pulling us back and just that position. And it feels a little bit of tension, but over time, that's gonna become our natural position. The other thing we wanna think about when standing is in general, if we're facing people, okay? in conversations we talk about that as well. We don't want to face them flat on. We want to maintain somewhat of an angle. This is a nice defensive stance. So when you're standing, even just in general, having 1 foot forward, 1 foot back makes a difference. So that's it. Standing tall and at a slight angle with our hands by our side. At least one hand. If you're carrying a purse, that's different. I understand it. But if you can, you want both hands by your side, just like this. We don't have to do this or, fiddle or put our hands in our pocket. See, it doesn't look very confident. Or put our hands in a pocket, right? None of this is confident. But just this, hands by our side. Very confident, owning it, leadership. And it will feel strange when we are starting out. It will get natural over time, I promise. And one of the tips I got from one of my instructors is tapping your middle finger or your ring finger kind of by your side, just to make sure that you keep your hands by your side. On to the next one. All right, so now we're going to talk about walking. How do we walk confidently? So first, of course, the standing portion, right? Making sure we're standing tall and our hands are by our side. And the other thing to make sure with walking is we don't want to look down, all right? You don't want to be here or or on our phone. We don't want to do either of those things, okay? Looking down no matter what. So hands by our side, still tall. If you're carrying a purse, that's okay. One hand can be up here, the other hand still by your side. If you're carrying two things, well, that's that, right? But if you can, keep a hand empty. And if a hand is empty, keep it by your side. That's the point. And you're walking, I'm going to keep both my hands to my side. My chin stays up, and I'm just looking around. When I'm walking, I want to make sure that I am alert. Right? As a presenter too, you notice people who pace and have this conversation this way. So that's all you want to really keep, make sure you're standing tall, your chin is up, and you want to make eye contact with those who pass by. If they're strangers, that's fine. You're just looking at them. If they are people you're familiar with, you can, smile, nod, something like that. Of course, let's use our judgment. If it's a homeless person who could go crazy if you make eye contact with them or some scenario like that, you're welcome to choose to not do that. But in general, walking is hands by our side, chin up, and looking around, making eye contact, making sure, we're aware of our surroundings. And we don't have to be all jolly and happy. That's fine. You can have a soft smile if that calls for it. All right? That is walking confidently. It doesn't feel stiff, but initially you might feel a little stiff because you're not nice and loose. That's okay. That's okay. It will become natural over time. Okay, it's time to have a conversation. All right, so first thing to remember, let's assume that you are the person I'm having a conversation with. I don't want to face you dead on, straight like this. I want to put one leg back and one leg forward and kind of maintain a 45-degree angle, right? Have a conversation this way. So what I'm doing here also, after the 45-degree angle, is I'm leaning back a little bit. So this is me being straight. This is me leaning back a little. So I'm relaxed. So I'm still straight and tall. At the same time, I'm not here. I'm here. That makes a huge difference because it shows that I'm confident in my relaxed state. I don't have to be stiff about anything. Why should I? So that's super important. And framing with our hands, right? Creating that space and self-defense is important, especially when the conversation gets aggressive. We already have the ability to stop our person, right? And also tells them, don't get close, because I'm using the space for my hands, right? So that's very, very important. Now, if you're listening in that conversation, you can choose to put one hand on your hip and, talk with one or listen with one, or think with the other. I understand. I know what you're saying. That's fine, okay? You can use your judgment if you want to do that or not. The most important part is just angle, 45-degree angle, lean back, hands by your side, and if you're talking, frame with it. Or frame with one hand on your hip. On to the next one. Before I share my stranger versus acquaintance tip, did you notice something about how I'm standing? Okay, I could be facing you this way and having a conversation, which has a different impact, as opposed to right here. This has a very different impact. You can pause and rewind and watch it again if you need to, okay? All right, so like this video if you enjoyed it. And if you have a comment and a question, please go ahead and put it in the comment box below. And the next week, we're gonna come out with self-esteem, self-worth video. So if you wanna find that, if you wanna get notification for that, go ahead and hit the subscribe and notification button. Okay, on to my tip. It's fairly simple, fairly straightforward. If it's a stranger and you're walking by, you're making eye contact, you wanna probably just look at the person with the neutral expression. And if you're walking in a hallway at work, to maintain your leadership and authority and a confident person, perhaps you want to think about maintaining a slightly off neutral to a pleasant position, okay? Now that doesn't mean you're smiling. Hi, hi. You don't have to be that way, okay? Because that's too far to the happy side. I mean, I'm doing this because I'm having a lot of fun and I'm laughing, okay? But when you're walking, you just have to maintain a soft smile and nod gently. Okay, so you're looking around, you're walking perhaps. Just that. Soft eyes, soft smile, nodding. That shows authority. She's got it. She's confident, she's relaxed, she's acknowledging, making eye contact, nodding, saying what's up with her eyes, right? So you don't have to be like, hi, at work. Just kind of acknowledge. Friendly, but authority, confident leadership. That's my one tip. You don't need to do that with strangers because depending on the country you're in, that could be taken as come to me or something. I know in India it's like that. You make an eye contact with a guy on the street, he's gonna harass you more. So with strangers, you just want, a neutral expression. I see you. That's about it. All right, that's it for today. Look forward to the next video. Look forward to talking to you in the next video. Bye.